Knowledge is the key to happiness, George Washington quotes about education and growth. Discipline and strength. Discipline is the soul of an army. It makes small numbers formidable, procures success to the weak, and esteem to all. Experience teaches us that it is much easier to prevent an enemy from posting themselves than it is to dislodge them after they have got possession. There is nothing so likely to produce peace as to be well prepared to meet the enemy. Spread the wisdom. Share this video with friends and family who need a little inspiration today. Freedom and speech. If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep to the slaughter. In politics as in philosophy, my tenets are few and simple. The leading one is to be honest and just ourselves and to exact it from others, meddling as little as possible in their affairs where our own are not involved. If men are to be precluded from offering their sentiments on a matter, which may involve the most serious and alarming consequences that can invite the consideration of mankind, reason is of no use to us. Wisdom in relationships. Associate yourself with men of good quality, if you esteem your own reputation, for 'tis better to be alone than in bad company. Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. True friendship is a plant of slow growth. Actions, not words, are the true criterion of the attachment of friends. Knowledge and education. There is nothing which can better deserve our patronage than the promotion of science and literature. Knowledge is in every country the surest basis of public happiness. I conceive a knowledge of books is the basis upon which other knowledge is to be built. Promote, then, as an object of primary importance, institutions for the general diffusion of knowledge. In proportion as the structure of a government gives force to public opinion, it is essential that public opinion should be enlightened. The foundations of a nation. The foundation of our empire was not laid in the gloomy age of ignorance and superstition, but at an epoch when the rights of mankind were better understood. Nothing can illustrate these observations more forcibly than a recollection of the happy conjuncture of times and circumstances under which our republic assumed its rank among the nations. Citizens by birth or choice of a common country, that country has a right to concentrate your affections. The name of American must always exalt the just pride of patriotism. Patriotism and sacrifice. Let us therefore animate and encourage each other, and show the whole world that a freeman, contending for liberty on his own ground, is superior to any slavish mercenary on earth. No punishment, in my opinion, is too great for the man who can build his greatness upon his country's ruin. We began a contest for liberty ill-provided with the means for the war, relying on our patriotism to supply the deficiency. The role of religion. Religious controversies are always productive of more acrimony and irreconcilable hatreds than those which spring from any other cause. I regret exceedingly that disputes between Protestants and Roman Catholics should be carried to such serious heights. I was in hopes that enlightened and liberal policy would have reconciled Christians so far that their disputes would not endanger the peace of society. Leadership and integrity. I hope I shall possess firmness and virtue enough to maintain what I consider the most enviable of all titles, the character of an honest man. It is absolutely necessary for me to have persons that can think for me, as well as execute orders. It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one. Philosophy of happiness. Happiness depends more upon the internal frame of a person's own mind than on the externals in the world. Human happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected. The turning points of lives are not the great moments. The real crises are often concealed in occurrences so trivial in appearance that they pass unobserved. Warnings against division. The disorders and miseries incline men to seek security in the absolute power of an individual, and sooner or later the chief of some prevailing faction turns this disposition to his own elevation on the ruins of public liberty. The common and continual mischiefs of the spirit of party serve always to distract the public councils and enfeeble the public administration. Overgrown military establishments, which under any form of government are inauspicious to liberty, and which are to be regarded as particularly hostile to Republican liberty. This reordered presentation offers a fresh perspective on George Washington's timeless insights, grouping his thoughts under distinct themes while preserving their integrity and depth. Story illustration: the soul of discipline. Discipline is the soul of an army. It makes small numbers formidable, procures success to the weak, and esteem to all. The new commander. Captain Jonathan Hartley had just been promoted to lead a small militia unit stationed in a quiet colonial town. The year was 1777, and the American Revolutionary War raged on. His unit, though eager, was poorly trained and disorganized. They lacked the coordination and spirit necessary to stand against the formidable British forces. Jonathan recalled the words of General George Washington, the great leader whose wisdom had inspired many. He had read the quote about discipline being the soul of an army and believed it was the key to transforming his ragtag group into a formidable force. "Discipline is our foundation," Jonathan told his men during their first gathering. "We may not be many, and we may not have the finest weapons, but with discipline, we can outmatch any opponent." The soldiers murmured in agreement, but doubt lingered in their eyes. Jonathan knew words alone wouldn't be enough. He had to show them the power of unity and discipline through action. The training begins. Jonathan implemented a strict routine, starting each day before sunrise. They practiced marching in formation, setting up defenses, and coordinating attacks. Mistakes were met not with punishment, but with teaching, and successes were celebrated to build morale. The soldiers began to understand that discipline wasn't about control. It was about trust, structure, and resilience. Weeks passed, and the transformation became evident. The once chaotic group moved as one, with confidence and precision. One evening, as they rested around a campfire, Jonathan shared the words of George Washington. "Discipline," he repeated, "isn't just for the battlefield. It's about how we carry ourselves as individuals, as a team, and as protectors of this land." One young soldier, Thomas Miller, raised his hand hesitantly. "But, Captain, do you think discipline alone will help us win? The British have numbers, better weapons, and more experience." Jonathan smiled. "Numbers can overwhelm, Thomas, but an undisciplined army collapses under pressure. Remember, small numbers, when united and disciplined, can achieve what seems impossible." Soon after, their discipline was put to the test. A British patrol discovered their camp and launched a surprise attack in the dead of night. The militia, now trained and confident, quickly fell into formation. Jonathan's calm and decisive orders carried through the chaos, and the unit repelled the attack with minimal casualties. The next morning, the British commander, captured during the skirmish, remarked with disbelief, "Your numbers are so few, yet you fought as though you were an army thrice your size. How is that possible?" Jonathan simply replied, "Discipline, sir. The soul of an army," as General Washington once said. Reflection: from that day forward, the men of Jonathan Hartley's militia carried not only their weapons, but the lesson that discipline was their greatest strength. Inspired by Washington's words and their own success, they continued to fight valiantly, knowing that their unity and training made them a force to be reckoned with.